to the point where they were even looking at these expensive cars around Ipswich and
Down the pitch comes Harry Finch and drives beautifully through extra cover.
Porter's in, bowls, and Porter appeals here, thinking that no, it's gone through for 4.
Around the wicket to Ben Compton, up to the stumps, Rossington, and driven away by Compton for 4. Out towards point. As he bowls and is driven away, square of the wicket by Harry Finch for 4.
In comes Critchley, number 20 on his back, and this time Finch is down, sweeping past the square leg.
Cut away here by Compton, and that could well go for 4.
In comes Harmer to Compton. This time he takes a step back, swipes that one into the offside.
1-2,
Comes
1-2,
in again.
testing, 1-2,
Bowls, and
1-2.
this ball stylishly pulled away to backward square leg to Compton. Is brilliantly caught. Fantastic catch at leg slip by no surprise at all, the man who can't keep his name off the score sheet, Simon Harmer. If he's not taking wickets, he's taking amazing catches. He was fielding at leg slip.
As he is into Finch, looped up, and this time Finch will get the single into the offside. That will be his 50 from 105 balls, the second 50 of the season.
Finch has pulled this one away, and that'll be 4 more.
Once as Harmer is in on the back foot, the pads, it hits the pads, the finger goes up of the umpire, and that is the wicket that Essex wanted, and it is a wicket for Simon Harmer. Harmer is in, and this time Finch is sweeping and sweeping to the boundary.
On Saturday.
Oh, and Harmer is in, and this time Finch is driving, and that will be chased by Bracewell, but I think the ball will win.
Comes Sam Cook to Jordan Cox. That's a big shout for LBW. That'll be out. Yeah, look good.
Porter bounding in, and this is dug out by Everson, and he's played that one off the feet all the way to the boundary for 4 runs. In he comes to Finch, who just runs that one down to a wide third man for Essex. And if the morning session belonged to Kent, as Harry Finch gets 100 for Kent, he has played a very patient innings, and he's very much been a thorn in Essex's side as Chelmsford stands to applaud the Kent batter who gets to his century.
Lawrence bowls, and that ball is driven powerfully through extra cover for 4 by Joey Everson.
Full delivery, which Everson drives back down the ground. Cook tried to flick it onto the stumps with his boot, but actually missed the ball, and it's gone all the way for 4 despite the best efforts of Porter.
He was hit on the head as Harmer is in, and sweeping is Finch, and he is caught. Paul Walter takes the catch, and a wonderful innings from Harry Finch comes to an end. 114.
And 7 to Denley. Oh, and he's out. And it's taken at slip by Alistair Cook. You think it deflected off Rossington. Bowls, and this ball's been hit a long way, and 6.
As Critchley is in to Stewart, and he just reaches for that one, plays it up to mid-off for a single. Everson even, sorry, and a big apology to Joey Everson, because that is his 50 as he just reached for that single, pushed up to mid-off. In comes Critchley to Stewart. That's up in the air and should be a catch, and it is. Stewart was fishing for that one.
Oh, Kadri again slaps hard into the offside, this time for 4. He's got it past mid-off and away to the boundary.
It was a day where your bowlers had to be patient, but they did get their rewards in that afternoon and evening session.
Yeah, I thought we stuck to our guns really good today. We knew it wasn't going to be easy. We knew they'd fight, and that's exactly what they're doing. But I think the way we went about it today, we held our length and we held our line all day. Created a few chances. As you said, we got our rewards right through the day. Haven't sent them down tonight, and puts us in a pretty strong position. But I think we can probably nearly 25 plus play misses today, so yeah, extremely happy with the boys.
And even when those wickets were hard to come by in that morning session, you had the likes of Simon Harmer bowling so tightly, bowling so many maidens to really keep Kent, and it's not an easy wicket to score quickly on anyway, but just to really keep that scoring rate down.
Yeah, then that was the key for us. I mean, we knew we had some runs on the board for the second innings, but as I said, I think the way we went about today, we were aggressive with our field, we were aggressive the way we bowled. I couldn't have asked any much more than what they did today. Unfortunately, sometimes things go your way and they don't go your way, and I think today they had a bit of a luck of the draw by a lot of play misses, as I said earlier. So, but yeah, I'm extremely happy with the boys.
And from a Kent point of view, Harry finishes innings, he didn't really give the bowlers a lot. He didn't really ever look like getting out until he swept straight to Paul Walter.
Yeah, I think he should stop sweeping, to be honest. But no, look, he played extremely well, and it's credit to him. Look, he got a stiff one in the first innings, and I think the way he played second innings was extremely well.
Confident that Essex can come back in the morning, get those wickets needed with not too much to then chase to win the game.
Well, hopefully the rain stays away. So, but we'll be confident coming out tomorrow morning, try and make them up early and chase down whatever they set us.
We saw quite a few substitutes out on the field for Essex today. Robin Das okay, went off quite early this morning.
He had a neck spasm, so he's up there at the moment with a bit of a stiff neck. So he's going all right at the moment. And he struggled to have a shower, but hopefully take him a couple of days to come good. But yeah, he'll be fine.
Similar situation, Mick, to the last day at Blackpool, wasn't it? I think one wicket was down before lunch. Just had to be persistent and just keep our lines and links. Discipline. It helps the captain though to have so many bowling variations, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, that's the beauty about having Paul Walter on your side. Left armour offers something different. And look, I mean, as you said, we just had to be patient, and we were patient, and that's one thing about this group, they're extremely patient. They know they put the ball in the right areas enough time, they'll create a chance.
And vindicated our approach to batting yesterday, to bat long rather than either perhaps potential batting points, which could have possibly cost us lost wickets. That 250 odd cushions hopefully will prove so important.
Yeah, you hope so. I mean, that was the whole plan to go and have a whack last night, and then we wanted to get it probably 5-6 overs done last night, put them under pressure. We always know when you've got runs in the ball, batting second, it's hard. But as I said, they batted extremely well today.
Yeah.
Quite the wind around as well, but fingers crossed that the rain will stay away, so we'll be able to get a conclusion to this match. The Essex players are out taking up their fielding positions, and the Kent batters are in the middle alongside the umpires as well. It's free entry to the county ground today to see the end of this match, so if you are listening in and not too far away, thinking you might fancy a trip to Chelmsford, then there's certainly room for you to come and enjoy the cricket that we have on offer. Kent are going to resume on 265 for 7, Kadri on 7, Everson on 56, and it's going to be Simon Harmer to open the bowling from the river end for Essex. Despite the lack of sunshine, he still has the shades on. And he's going to get us underway bowling to Hamid Kadri. In comes Harmer, and that's the outside edge through to Rossington for no run.
Yes, I'm just filling in briefly. Paul Newton here until Matt Cole has finished his piece. Yes, Cadbury struggles against Harmer.
As Harmer is into Cadbury's on the back foot, just defending with a straight bat. It's Aaron Beard under the helmet at short leg today. Spoke to the bowling coach Mick Lewis at the end of play last night. He said Robin Dast had a neck spasm that he was having to cope with as Harmer is into Cadbury, who just turns that into the leg side, and it's Aaron Beard who does the fielding.
Cloud cover still reasonably high. There was sunshine about half an hour ago, and it's a matter of whether Essex can wrap this up before the rains come.
As Harmer is into Cadbury, who just turns that one into the leg side, and Paul Walter fields in close. 4-dot balls so far to start this morning session from Simon Harmer.
And we have our pictures at last.
Oh, excellent. Live stream is up and running as Harmer comes round the wicket to Cadbury, who's forward and defending for no run.
So, 3 wickets left. Kent 14 ahead. So far, dot balls all the way.
As Harmer is in around the wicket again to Cadbury, defending on the front foot. End of the over, a maiden to start the day from Simon Harmer. Kent still 265 for 7.
Victoria will be updating listeners to the BBC Essex News in just a moment or two. And, well, we're probably fortunate. I suspect we're one of the few grounds in the country that have been able to at least get a start here. Would they be able to do that at Old Trafford with England having been all over Australia? It does look horribly as though they're only going to get a draw out of a game they thoroughly deserve to win. But what tremendous entertainment the Ashes series has been this year. And Johnny Bairstow yesterday, pure baseball, 99 not out. Going to see Sam Cook bowl the first over from the Hayes close end. I'll hand over to you, Victoria.
Yes, Sam Cook to bowl from the Hayes close end. Just turning on his mark. We've got one slip in. And he is into Everson, who plays that one back down the pitch with a straight bat. 56 not out from 126 balls from the Kent batter.
Little surprise, there's only the one slip, Sir Alistair Cook. You know, these are the last 3 wickets that Kent have. Admittedly, Joey Everson's an accomplished player, as we saw with his half-century yesterday, but I'd have thought it merited a second slip.
In comes Cook, moving past the umpire to Everson. And he gets the bat down on that one, plays it back up the pitch for no run.
Yes, it's amazing how much hangs on a situation like this. Can you get the job done in time before the weather intervenes? And Surrey have a similar situation at Lord's, trying to beat Middlesex.
In comes Cook, bowling to Everson. And he hits that one into the offside, thinks about the single, and then sends Cadbury back as Simon Harmer does the fielding. No runs added to the overnight score so far for Kent.
Yes, in that game I was referring to at Lord's, Middlesex 9 down overnight, but leading by 77. So it would take Surrey a good hour's play to wrap that one up.
As Cook is in, past the umpire to Everson. Oh, and he beats the outside edge through to Rossington. Another dot ball. Just going to update the BBC Essex listeners. We're into the second over of the day, and they're yet to add to that overnight score. Kent, Everson is not out on 56 and Cadbury is on 7. They lead by 14 runs, so Essex need a further 3 wickets and then a total to chase in order to win this match and make it a 4th successive county championship win. They had to work hard for their wickets yesterday, eventually getting their breakthrough in the afternoon and evening sessions. But Harry Finch with 114 runs and then a partnership between him and Everson was the thorn in their side. So they'll be hoping that they can get through these last Kent's wickets quickly and then chase down a total before there's any change in the weather here in Chelmsford. Kent 265 for 7 with a lead of 14. You missed none of the action as a maiden over from Sam Cook, the second of the day, so the scoreboard stays on 265 for 7. And as I mentioned earlier, we've got Aaron Beard out on the field as a sub-fielder for Essex, and just seeing Jamal Richards taken to the field as well, another of the Essex youngsters. This is the captain Tom Wesley just popping off the field, hopefully momentarily. Simon Harmer to continue from the river end, Kadri on strike. In comes Harmer to Kadri on the back foot.
Well, this one might not last very long, Steve, so that might be one less sporting occasion because Kent are fighting.
Just hearing our colleague Matt Cole updating BBC Radio Kent listeners.
Sorry, 265 for 7.
As Harmer is into Kadri, and this time he turns that down towards the fine leg boundary for 4 runs. Just found the gap between the close-in fielders, and they've added to their overnight score in the third over of the day, 269 for 7.
Is that the weather is closing in here at Chelmsford. The forecast says the rain might not arrive until 1 o'clock, but if they can hold out until then, Ken, that seems a tall order, but they can.
Palmer to Kadri on the back foot defending this time. Dot ball.
Good old British weather. So there we go. That's the vagaries of cricket. Essex have dominated.
Don't think we'll see any play in the Ashes test at Old Trafford because of the rain, but England's Lionesses have got their World Cup campaign underway as Harmer is into Kadri, just flicker the wrists into the leg side for no run. Taking on Haiti in their first group game, and they are already 1-0 up in that one with 34 minutes gone. Georgia Stanway with a penalty as Harmer is into Kadri, just puts the bat back down on that one, and it rolls back down the pitch towards Harmer.
Pretty much shut it down, actually. I don't know how it's coping, the dear old BBC machine, but yeah, like you.
Final ball of the Harmer over, Kadri on strike. Harmer is in, and Kadri's forward and defending for no run, so just that boundary from the over. Kent 269 for 7, leading by 18 runs. Good news, that was just a momentary break for the captain Tom Wesley as he's back on the pitch, and Jamal Richards heads back towards the pavilion. There's a more sparsely populated river stand just in front of us, and the Tom Pearce upper away to her right hand side. I can't see underneath, but perhaps a few more spectators sheltering just in case the rain does close in as Matt Cole joins us. Morning to you, Matt.
Good morning.
As Sam Cook is in, and that's driven by Everson. He's just going to get the 1 run for it as Tom Wesley comes across from mid-off to field, 270 for 7.
Always a challenge to try and explain to listeners on our radio stations who perhaps just don't really understand cricket at all, and particularly when you're saying, well, Essex have dominated this game. Kent could very well lose this in 15 minutes, or it might be a draw because the rain might set in, and there are all these vagaries, which is the wonder, I think, of this fantastic game that we love. But there we are. Yeah, it's all set up to be something or other.
The beauty of the county championship. Yeah. Just a quick word from Tom Wesley, the captain, to Sam Cook bowling as he now runs in to Kadri, who shapes as if he was going to play this, and then at the last minute changes his mind as it's through to Rossington for no run.
He's looked lively again, hasn't he, Sam Cook? And do I have to say it again, Paul? I don't think I do. My comments about Sam Cook
Your Sam Cook fan club.
On the record, yeah, you heard that the other day, didn't you? Yes, absolutely right. But yeah, he's looking really good, and survival looks tenuous for Kent at the moment, and the forecast suggests that the rain is going to arrive here at Chelmsford, but maybe not until 1 o'clock, so it could well be that Essex have a full session to take these remaining 3 wickets.
Sam Cook into Kadri, who knocks that one back down the pitch past Cook and up to mid-off for no run. Yeah, Sam Cook just keeps that consistency with his bowling, and he gets his rewards with it as well, and he does always enjoy bowling at Kent.
He's got a good record, certainly. 270 for 7. Yeah, Kadri didn't time that one at all, did he? Came off the toe end of the bat. He looked suspiciously at it. After that was the ball scuttled away.
In comes Sam Cook from the Hayes close end to Kadri. And this one has just edged along the ground into the offside for no run. The lead is 19.
Yeah, and Kent after this, dare I say it, there's not a huge amount of batting to come. With due respect to Matt Gwenthal for this Parish and Arshdeep Singh, so these two really charged with digging in for Kent, but Essex, I was going to say scenting victory. They probably have been since day 2 in this, such that they dominated.
Cook into Kadri, and he's defending that one on the back foot, back down the pitch to Sam Cook. Yeah, I enjoyed your description when you were asked about Arshdeep Singh's batting. You described it as under construction.
Yeah, definitely a work in progress. And I think we saw that in his brief stay at the crease on the first day. But he's fun to watch, I think it's fair to say. But maybe not the securest of number 11s.
Sam Cook just making some moves in his field. Dan Lawrence going to deep backward point as Cook is into Kadri. He's up on his toes, just knocks that one into the offside, and they'll take the quick single because they've sent the field back. So there is the space for them to get the run in, and that's a single off the final ball of the over, so Kadri will keep the strike, and it's 271 for 7 with the lead of 20.
Yeah, he scored all 5 to be added to the score today. Kent resuming on 265 for 7. Simon Harmer will continue from this end as well, the river end. There are dark clouds blowing across the ground, but don't look too tempestuous right now. As I said, we are told rain is on its way, but Essex surely will be confident of bowling Kent out this morning for a deserved victory over the 3 and a bit days we've had so far. Floodlights aren't on to give you an idea of what the lights like at the moment. It's not too bad, probably actually as bright as it's been right now, as Harmer bowls to Kadri, absolutely surrounded by fielders, and he swings this one away, and that'll be 4 runs. That's an orthodox sweep, and it's beaten a substantial leg trap, well, as substantial as it's allowed to be, behind square on the leg side, and he gets himself 4 more runs. So he's at the moment surrounded by a short leg, a silly mid-off, full water looming there, leg slip, orthodox slip, as he defends this one off the back foot, and then there's a man, that might be Sam Cook himself actually, who bowled the last over just there, a sort of fly, well, a backward square if you like, just for the top edge, should that happen. As Harmer comes in, pads up Kadri, he's a diminutive man, but as big a stride as he can outside the off stump, and it just kept on going, so it didn't even hit the pad. But it'd be fairly gymnastic just to do that. Kadri making sure it wasn't getting near his stumps, coming into the right hand of the spin naturally. Quicker delivery. This one's flicked down very fine indeed, and that'll go for 4 more. No, it's byes, I beg your pardon. I thought there was a noise that it hit something, but it's 4 byes, says umpire Bailey. Quicker ball, and has got to the boundary very quickly as well. 279 for 7. So actually whistled past him, that one, almost at medium pace.
Yeah, well, I was just about to say, with the previous 2 boundaries, he's just managed to find that gap within those close fielders, but that time he didn't need to.
As Harmer bowls again, he turns it into the leg side once more, as I said, with the spin, and it was Sam Cook will come around from backward square to square leg to field it. So I'm sure he's getting all sorts of helpful chatter from the 5 field he's got around him. There's also a man at a shortish mid-wicket as well, Tom Wesley, the captain. So they really are crowding him for room. He defends this one, end of the over though, and does survive. So 275 for 7 then, Kent. Cadbury has 16. Everson has 57 here on BBC Essex and BBC Radio Kent via the BBC Sport website and app, on the club's live stream as well. If you can't make it here today for what could be a pretty short burst of cricket, we're delighted to bring it to you here on the BBC, of course, covering every ball of county cricket across the summer with a competitive game.
Sam Cook's going to bowl from the Hayes close end. Just thought I felt a bit of rain then, but maybe it's just me. As Cook is into Everson. Plays that one into the leg side for no run. You can see the Kent flag really, really billowing in the breeze out on the left-hand side of the pavilion as we look at it.
There are some spots of rain just on the glass on our right, but nothing significant at the moment.
Let's hope it stays that way.
As it's been borne in on the breeze, the umpires may well take the view that showers will blow across at this point. I'm sure they'll give them every chance.
Dot ball to start the over. Cook is into Everson. Again, that's just taking a bottom edge into the leg side, and they won't take the run. A big shout of no from the middle.
Neither Cadbury nor Everson seems to have timed a delivery from Cook at all so far. He's really testing them, isn't he? There, Everson trying the drive into the onside or the clip into that. Hasn't timed it at all, which is good news for Essex.
As Cook is bounding in to Everson, who ducks out of the bouncer from Sam Cook. We saw quite a lot of that yesterday when Grant Stewart was at the crease for Kent.
Yeah, when he times it, you definitely know about it, that's for sure.
We had a massive six that just landed away to our right-hand side in the Tom Pearce upper stand. Just waiting to see whether it was coming our way through the open window. In comes Sam Cook to Everson, who just dabs that down from the edge and just hesitates slightly, but eventually does take the single, as it's fielded down at third man by Doug Bracewell. 280 for 7.
So he just took the pace off that a little bit. Almost surprised Joey Everson as well, but did manage to keep the ball down. This little queue of fielding helmets behind Adam Rossington. Dark blue with the Essex crest on the front, just 4 of them in a line.
Well, 5 at one point yesterday.
Oh, really? There we go. I'm just feeling just a spots of rain in the commentary box now.
As Cook is in, and that's just rolled off the top of Cadbury's bat into the ground, but that delivery rather took him by surprise.
I think you're right, Victoria. I think there is just a spot of rain coming down now, but again, umpires keep him out there. Right, helmet number 1. And number 4, no, number 2 is being picked. There we are. It's like when you go 10-pin bowling, isn't it? And this one's not quite right. This one's too heavy. And this is the sub-fielder, is that right?
That's Aaron Beard.
Oh, it's Aaron Beard, gotcha.
Yeah, sub-fielder, yeah. So we had Robin Dass off the field for most of the day for Essex yesterday. Noah Thane was in for him, who unfortunately got hit in the face at short leg. Luckily he was okay, just came off the grill of the helmet, but Aaron Beard has been given those duties this morning as Cook is into Cadbury, is up on his toes and just knocks into the leg side for no run. That rain does feel like it's getting a little bit heavier now.
Yeah.
We ignored Paul Newton's advice to keep the windows closed, and here we are.
As so often, if you ignore Paul's advice, you end up regretting it, I think.
End of the Sam Cook over. Kent are 280 for 7. Cook has bowled 20 overs, 7 maidens, and he's 2 for 46.
This isn't Paul's first rodeo, I think it's fair to say, as the phrase goes. He'll be delighting you with his tones in 10 minutes or so, weather permitting. The big shout from the balcony in front of us, as you can hear. Come on, Harmy. Simon Harmer looking for these wickets, with perhaps the weather closing in. Like you do with getting them sooner rather than later. This one is on with the arm, and Everson just defends it back at the bowler. There's no run. Field for Everson a little bit more conservative. Leg slip, orthodox slip, short leg, and he pushes forward, dead bats it back down the pitch towards the South African spinner. Such a great player, Simon Harmer. Has lit up the county championship. since his arrival at Essex. 11 on his back. He'll come over the wicket to Everson. Just adjusts the shot a little bit late there, Everson, but securely in the end, back towards the Essex bowler into the ground. And there's no run. Harmer once again to Everson on the back foot this time. Soft hand, dead bats it into the onside. Paul Walter is quick to go and grab the ball at mid wicket. Tom Wesley closes in a little bit at a wide-ish mid-off. Everson actually finds him obligingly with that shot. On the run, Everson, Wesley rather, grabs the ball. They're bringing the point in, so they're trying to stop and get the single. Bracewell comes in as well on the run as the ball's delivered, but Joey Everson is not one for taking a single at the end of the over anyway. He very pointedly defended that off his crease. That's the end of the over. A maiden for Simon Harmer. The light plane buzzes past us high over the ground here at the Ford County Ground. Sort of thing, fair weather. It'd be fantastic to be in a light plane, I'd imagine, if you like that kind of thing. Not quite sure in this weather.
No, not with all that cloud around.
You might have, I suppose you might have booked it, even if you're a pilot. I'm not sure how far you have to book in advance, but you might be thinking middle to end of July, be fantastic. The views will be lovely.
I wonder what the threshold is as well for the not being able to go up.
Can you just rock up? I don't know. You can
Maybe we could after this finishes, as Cook is into Kadri, who gets out the way of that one as it flies through to Rossington for no run.
I presume you have to make it
a few small airfields round the Essex area.
I presume you have to make some kind of appointment. You can't just turn up with your plane, can you?
I think so. I do remember we bought my brother-in-law a experience of that for a birthday or Christmas or something a couple of years ago, and yeah, I think he did have to book that in advance. We weren't able to just rock up and go up. As Cook is in, that just rolls off the bat of Kadri, and it's caught by Simon Harmer. And Essex have their first wicket of the morning. They have Kent 280 for 8.
Yeah, just turning it to backward square there, wasn't he? Hamid Kadri doesn't get away with it this time. They're trying to trap him on the leg with Simon Harmer, and it's worked with Sam Cook. He goes, and now Essex must feel the resistance is almost over from Kent. The lead just 29 as well. Just need to stay on the field a bit longer, and surely inexorably this victory will be taken. But just looking at the replay, Cook has, it's just gone a little bit short there, just back of a length. Kadri's no room to play it really. He's just deflected it into the onside, and Simon Harmer takes that catch, diving to his left as well. He made that look remarkably simple for the angle it was going at, but it's taken. 8 down then. Matt Quinn comes in.
Yeah, it did make that look easy, did Simon Harmer. He took a stunning catch yesterday to dismiss Ben Compton off the bowling of Paul Walter, just reaching out one-handed to his right-hand side, but that time he was getting down with both hands to the ground. It'll be the former Essex bowler Matt Quinn to join Joey Everson at the crease. I mentioned earlier that England are 1-0 up in their group game, their opening game of the Women's World Cup in Australia, 1-0 up against Haiti. That was a penalty from Georgia Stanway. It did have to be retaken actually because the goalkeeper was off her line during the first attempt. But Georgia Stanway made no mistake with the retake. So they're 1-0 up as they approach half-time. Cook is in to Quinn, who moves the bat out of the way of that one, and Rossington tumbles to his left-hand side to stop the ball. Matt Quinn is the kind of batter who has a couple of big shots in his locker, but doesn't hang around for a particularly long time, although not to say he won't surprise us as Cook is into Quinn, and again he shapes to move the bat out of the way through to Rossington.
Quite an elaborate, almost bullfighter-like there, isn't he? With a
Got the hot,
taking the arms out of the way.
bat aloft and both arms above his head.
Not sure what sort of toreador he'd make, Matt Quinn, but he's doing his best. We have seen him in rearguard actions for Kent before, and Stonewall, he's going to need to do so here.
In comes Cook to Quinn, and he's bowled him. Sam Cook gets a second wicket in the over, a second wicket for Essex this morning. And now they will feel that they are closing in on victory. Kent are 280 for 9.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he was again for the short one, wasn't he? Didn't quite get the bat out of the way. Wasn't as short, this delivery. That really has fooled Matt Quinn. He plays on, and Kent 280 for 9, leading by 29. And I don't think the weather's going to save them now. It could all be done in a rush here. Yeah, he's just trying to defend himself, I think, as much as anything else. This one got closer into his body. It was a better bouncer, to be fair. And Quinn plays on. Arshdeep Singh comes out. And, well, unless he's going to show us something we've not seen before, Arshdeep Singh, this looks like the game is up for Kent, and a victory, as I said, much deserved as well for Essex. But yeah, it goes down as bowled. He very much played it on, but it's proper credit to the bowler anyway for the way he's outthought, outbounced Matt Quinn there.
So Arshdeep Singh comes out, and you'll have one ball of this Sam Cook over to face. Then he likely will have to face Simon Harmer at some point.
Well, possibly. We'll see. So yeah, one delivery to go of this one. It could even be it could be the end of the innings. This delivery, 2 wickets in the over, a double wicket maiden as things stand.
Arshdeep Singh has just taken guard, the left-handed bat, waiting for his go ahead. It is Sam Cook, and that's just dropped short. It was up in the air off the edge of the bat, and scrambling to try and get there under the helmet was Aaron Beard. Just dropped a couple of paces in front of him, so that is a wicket maiden for Sam Cook. 2 wickets to fall in that over, that of Hamid Kadri and Matt Quinn, and Kent to 280 for 9.
Yeah, he really didn't like that, did he? Arshdeep Singh just took his eye off it as well. He's just offering the bat, turning away from the ball as well. Vicious delivery from Sam Cook at pace as well. And yeah, Arshdeep is just trying to get, well, I think he's sort of executed a kind of flick at it. It's come off the top edge, and Beard was very, very close to finishing it off.
Just watching Sir Alistair Cook in the background of that replay.
Unmoved, I think it's fair to say. He's just got his arms crossed, just watching it all happen in front of him, all unfold. Did you want to take this on as they're so close to victory?
Simon Harmer has got the wicket with his first ball. Joey Everson has turned that straight to short leg. I wasn't sure how much bat was involved in that, if any at all, but the umpire immediately puts up his finger, and Essex have Kent all out.
I thought he gave him LBW, maybe I'm wrong.
Oh.
Has it gone straight to the fielder? But
well, either way, we'll watch the replay. Did that come off the pads anyway, and the umpire's given the LBW rather than the catch at short leg?
yeah,
yes, it was off the pad,
yeah,
because Beard had dropped the ball anyway. Yes, but
so
Essex get Everson LBW for 58, 280 all out. So Essex will need 29 runs to win this match.
And well, I'm going to break off to go and give the bad news to the good people of Kent, and you'll be joined, I'm sure, by Paul Newton very shortly. But the game is very much up, I think, for Kent, and a win on the way for Essex.
Yes, so the umpires are making their way off. The ground staff will just do their quick repairs as we await the Essex batters to come back out. Now, interesting to see who does come out for Essex, because Nick Brown was replaced by Robin Das as a concussion substitute, but then Robin Das has been off the pitch since early yesterday morning with that neck spasm. So I wonder if we might well see, well, perhaps Paul Walter coming to open with.
Yes, I think you'll find Adam Rossington may.
Rossington?
I say that simply because he was noted sprinting off the moment the wicket fell, and of course he is the obvious one in a sense from T20.
Yes, that's true.
I hope he lasts longer than he did in the T20, but yeah, I mean, the point, Essex have done brilliantly to get those 3 wickets just when it looked as though, you know, it could take quite a while, and they've got Everson out as well. Well done to Harmer. Must say there were very good updated scorecards from the club here with everything up to date overnight, so I can actually take this away and have a full scorecard of the match by the time I've filled in the 3 wickets that have fallen today. So Essex will need 30 to win, and I think you'll find it won't take them very long to get them, provided the rain doesn't arrive. We've had a few spots of rain, but it's stopped at the moment, and what will help a little bit, I suspect, Victoria, is that there's a very high wind which will blow the clouds over. If anything, the the cloud cover above is a little bit higher than it was 20 minutes ago, and the light is good. They haven't even got the floodlights on yet. There's a similar battle going on at the Oval, where Surrey got the final wicket they needed of Middlesex without any addition to the score. 77 Middlesex were ahead overnight, therefore 78 needed for Surrey to win, and a few moments ago they were 6 for 1. So I don't think there's any drama in that. I think Surrey will, unless the rain intervenes, will make it over the line. And Mark Baldwin, who writes in the Times, tremendous fellow next door writing on this match, points out that if things were to turn out with both Surrey and Essex winning, Surrey would gain 1 point on Essex from the match and be 14 points in front. But Surrey have a tough last 4 games, you know, including Warwickshire at the Oval, Somerset at Taunton, never an easy place to go, and the Aegeus, which, as Essex will find out next week, is also not an easy place to go. So that's about as tough a last 4 games as Surrey could reasonably have, apart, of course, from if they had to play Essex. So, you know, it's getting very interesting at the top. I think we can safely say Warwickshire, where no player's been possible and probably won't be all day today, that's going to be a draw. So Essex and Surrey will pull further away from Warwickshire, and Warwickshire rather misfired against Lancashire, having had them 150 for 7 at one point, let them get away to 327, and if anything, I think Lancashire were more likely to win that game were it not for this dreadful weather today. We're so lucky here, Victoria, we can get away with things in the southeast that others don't.
Yes, and it's definitely changed since, well, even when we were talking about the forecast on day 2 and about what things might look like by Saturday. And thankfully we have had some play. That match between Surrey and Warwickshire, I'm sure Essex fans are going to be absolutely glued to when it comes to that, to watch how that one plays out and how it could affect. And I know the Essex players and staff will tell us they'll only concentrate on what they can do.
Yes.
I'm sure everyone's going to have a little bit of interest to see what happens in that game.
Well, to some extent, if Essex keep doing their thing right, they can't lose by that Surrey and Warwickshire game. They're bound to benefit if there's a result in the game at all. And the draw wouldn't worry Essex either if it's a draw between Surrey and Warwickshire. But let's hope that the rest of the campaign isn't severely affected by the weather, because it could be a tremendous finish.
Right, Adam Rossington is the man padded up alongside Sir Alistair Cook to come out and open the batting for Essex. They need to come out and just chase down a fairly modest total.
Yes, I have to say, at the moment, you would say the weather is holding up. The forecast said it would be about 1 o'clock when the rain arrived, and there's a sort of darker area of cloud that's already passed round the ground. The wind's in the northwest, so it's sort of coming right to left as we look at it, and it is considerably brighter actually now than it was when the players first came out. People tuning in all the time. The 3 wickets to go, and Essex have bowled out Kent for 280 and need 30 to win. Hamid Kadri, Hamadullah Kadri, caught by Harmer at leg slip off Sam Cook for 16. Later in the same over, Matt Quinn bowled by Sam Cook for 0 from a slower ball bouncer. And Joey Everson, he didn't face many deliveries today, and he was LBW to Harmer for 58. And those last 3 wickets went down in a big rush. So, in fact, they all fell with the score on 280. I haven't quite appreciated, actually, that
it was a double wicket maiden,
exactly, yes. They fell in the space of about 7 deliveries and without any further run being scored. And if you take it back to just before that, I was thinking, this is the weather is beginning to encroach, because we had a few spots of rain through which they played, and if you took it back to a bit before that, you certainly wouldn't have expected the 3 wickets to go down as quickly as they did. The Kent fieldsmen, led by Arshdeep Singh, are making their way out to the middle, and Arshdeep certainly has made a very favourable impression with the ball in this match. He's a wholehearted cricketer, seems to enjoy himself, which I love to see, and he's certainly impressed with his bowling here. So I don't think Kent anticipate that he will play for them in the September games. I think I heard Ben Watt saying yesterday, but should be able to play at Trent Bridge hopefully next week. So it is Adam Rossington, and if you notice, Sir Alistair very rarely faces the first ball, but just looking at on this occasion, I suspect he isn't going to face the first ball. It's almost a superstition with Sir Alistair, and in fact it's not so much a superstition. In fact, he isn't out there. It's Dan Lawrence who's come out with Adam Rossington. So the Knight of the Realm will be able to parade his sheep instead maybe this afternoon across the London Bridge. And it's going to be Kadri to bowl the first over. I like Kadri, actually. I think he's bowled very well in this game. And although he's not an out-and-out batsman, but he's no mug with the bat and held Essex up for quite some time. It's interesting just to read you the Kent scores from the point of view of the scores themselves. 39-0. 7, 114, 6, 0, 58, 9, 16 and 0. A mixture of some wonderful defiance and resistance and some disappointing lack of support from the colleagues of Messrs Compton, Finch and Everson, who put so much into their efforts to save the game for Kent. Kadri comes in then, 30 to win. Bowls down the pitch and belted for 4. At least I think Fieldsman is running round there, but it is 4. That was a sumptuous straight drive from Dan Lawrence, and he really timed that like a maestro, and it went like a bullet. Even though there is a long off who was hurtling round the boundary, it's the shortest boundary, the straight one, and that's how Essex won the quarter-final of the T20, a great straight hit from Snater.
Yeah, I feel like I got deja vu to last week.
Reverse sweep here, and that one is going down, won't go for 4. In fact, will only go for 1. Didn't really get hold of that, Lawrence, but single onto the board, 2 balls gone, 5 for no wicket, just 25 more needed. And yes, and if I wasn't the only one who just lazily assumed that Sir Alistair had gone out there, I must admit, if you're going to send Rossington up to open, Alistair, as brilliant as he is, not the man really for the big slog. And here's a reverse sweep from Rossington, and it's almost as if he's saying to Dan Lawrence, that's how you do it, mate, because Lawrence didn't get his correctly, and it wasn't that far off holding out, actually, whereas Rossington here has hit it all along the ground, exactly how to play it. 9 for no wicket, and we're in the first over, and I think probably only another couple of overs are going to be needed for Essex. No sign yet of any rain. And here's another reverse sweep, and he's got that one away, Rossington. He hasn't got it quite as well as the previous one, and in consequence it pulls itself up a couple of yards from the boundary, and they jog through for 2, 11 for no wicket in the first over, needing 30 to win.
Yes, it does feel very much like I've rewound to last Saturday watching these two open for Essex in the T20 finals day. The weather was not dissimilar in the first semi-final.
Kadri bowls to Rossington. He's got this one away. Goes to deep backward square leg. They're coming back for a second run, which they make. And 13 for no wicket at the end of that over, with 5 to Lawrence and 8 to Rossington. In fact, sorry, it's not the end of the over yet. We've got one more ball to go. 4-1, 4-2-2 is up on the board for how the runs have come. Kadri completes the over, and this ball's been launched by Lawrence out to deep mid-wicket by Rossington, I should have said, and they can take a couple more. So the job half done, exactly half done. 30 needed, 15 off the first over, and Rossington has 10 and Lawrence has 5.
Yes, so Grant Stewart will bowl from the Hayes close end, with Essex having got to 15 in that first Hamid Kadri over.
I think one point I would make, Victoria, Essex did so well to make finals day of the T20, but they're not the absolute maestros of T20 cricket in the way they are in the Championship. The way they've gone about it today has actually been superb. You know, it's not missing a trick. Once they got the breakthrough, you know, they wrapped up the tail with some clever bowling from Sam Cooke. Harmer got Everson out, the last man, and once they got 1 wicket, another run wasn't added, and we've got 2 different openers.
In comes Stewart to Lawrence, who pulls that one. It's not timed.
He's out.
And he's caught. So not the plan for Essex. A mistimed shot from Dan Lawrence, and he's been caught by Matt Quinn. And Essex lose a wicket in this short chase. Is it Singh?
No, it's Matt Quinn.
It's Matt Quinn.
Matt Quinn. Yeah, no. Yes, not the plan maybe, but basically nobody would be sorry about that, because literally the idea of Essex is, you know, don't leave any possibility of being stuck at the altar, as it were, with victory there but denied by the weather. So this is one of Essex's great strengths. The individual players will always sacrifice their own interests for the interests of the team, and that was what just disappointed me from a neutral point of view about Kent, because Compton and Finch had sort of batted all morning, and they really got their heads down and concentrated like mad. But there were 3 or 4 Kent batsmen who didn't seem to be in the same game plan. All it would have needed, from a Kent point of view, to pick up 5 points for a draw, Victoria, assuming the rain does arrive at lunchtime, say, is for even one other player to play along the same lines as Compton, Finch and Everson did. That's what I'd find disappointing if I were a Kent supporter.
So Tom Wesley, the captain, is out in his usual number 3 position for Essex, to try and steer his side home, as Stewart is in, and that's just edged by Wesley into the offside for no run.
So
I think that's gone down as a caught by a sub.
It's Jazz Singh.
Jazz Singh.
It's Jazz Singh, right. And they did announce at the time, caught by Quinn over the loudspeaker, so I rather took their word for it. But Jazz Singh, the substitute, caught sub there.
So Stewart with a wicket from his first ball. He is in to Tom Wesley, who is driving through the covers. They will come back for 2 runs. And Wesley gets off the mark. Essex 17 for 1. The target is 30.
Yep, I don't think, dangerous thing to say, but I don't think there's any danger of the weather intervening. Now, probably only another half dozen balls will be needed.
Wesley, 2 from 2, as Stewart is in, and he's just been... Stewart just beats the outside edge through to Harry Finch, keeping the wicket.
Yeah, he's had a good match, Harry Finch, all right. If you want to be picky, he didn't look like an absolutely fully fledged wicket-keeper, but you've got to understand, you know, when someone else takes over the gloves, that they're not in regular practice for wicket-keeping out in the middle.
Stewart into Wesley, who again is driving that one, hasn't timed it, and in comes Mayeye off the boundary to field as Essex take the single, which brings Rossington back onto strike. 18 for 1.
Yes, this would be very different if there were no threat from the weather, because we've had the regular openers who would make sure they didn't get out, or try to, and look after their averages a bit, and that would be legitimate in that scenario. But Lawrence has unselfishly sacrificed himself in the need for quick runs.
Stewart is into Rossington, who turns that one into the leg side for a single, moves himself on to 11, and will keep the strike at the end of Grant Stewart's over. And Essex are 19 for 1. They need 11 to win.
So decent over that from Grant Stewart, picking up the wicket of Dan Lawrence for 5. So Essex won't be winning either by an innings nor indeed by 10 wickets.
As we are approaching the end of the game, I'm going to make way for Matt Cole to come in, so we have the Essex and Kent perspective on things.
Thank you very much to Victoria Polly, and equally to Ben Watts, who was here in the middle 2 days of this game. And Matt Cole will join himself as I duck a flying plug, as this ball is played out to with a reverse sweep to what effectively becomes long leg. By Rossington, who's favoured that shot. It's the 3rd time he's played it in the short space of time. We're only in the first ball, or that was the first ball of the 3rd over. Rossington up to 12, scored to 20 for 1. And this next ball is flipped away to deep mid-wicket for a single, 21 for 1. Matt.
It's going to be a heck of a Kent win from here, isn't it? It really is.
It is. I wouldn't rule them out, though, you know.
All results still possible while the game's still
Particularly
going.
if you've told them that you're not particularly fond of pre-season football matches.
But I very much take your point about the application of Kent perhaps in the second innings of some of the batters.
Yeah,
really,
it was...
Yeah.
I'd be saying, look, one guy batted for 5 hours out there. Why did you throw the bat straight away? Now, here the next ball is hit down toward deep mid-wicket, and it is going to be 2 runs.
Yeah, Miao made a great effort at that, as you see on the replay. Almost got his hands underneath it, but yeah, couldn't stop it. And eventually it was just a barrier, Paul, as he dived in front of the ball. It's 2 runs. Yeah.
Matt and I are sitting together, but he can see that part of the field, and I can't. As here is Kadri in and bowls. Field for LBW and out. As Rossington tried 1 reverse sweep too many. I said he'd already tried the shot 3 times, and it's the reverse learning syndrome. It's my own special Newton's theory on reverse learning, that you do something much better the first time you try it, as on all subsequent attempts, because the first one was beautifully timed. You couldn't see a reverse sweep play better, and zinged away to the boundary. The second one almost went to the boundary but pulled up short, and he didn't quite get it so well. The third one was a bit of a scratchy affair and went for a single, and the fourth one, he's out LBW, and it looked a fair decision, and Kadri has his wicket, and Essex doing their best to keep the interest going in this enthralling run chase, needing 30 to win, theoretically with all day to make them, but with the approaching threat of the weather, and they are 23 for 2.
Yeah, absolutely, and yeah, that was looked quite appalling from Adam Rossington, but obviously it's the cause that he's thinking about, isn't it? And moving things on as quickly as possible, leaving absolutely no doubt, no chance of the weather to break in, but absolutely plumb in front as well. Hamid Kadri taking the wicket for his efforts, but very shortly indeed Essex are going to win this game. It's breezy, but actually pretty bright. You say more or less high cloud here, Paul, so Essex fans, don't worry if you're listening at home. They should all be fine.
Well, theoretically, they only need 2 blows to finish this off, and it could well come in this over. I think Critchley, though, a man who's got a very cool head on his shoulders, will probably think, I don't think there's any need to go berserk here.
If Jack Leading spends another hour perhaps adjusting his field
here,
who knows?
Kadri in. Bowls to Critchley, he's got different ideas. He could be holding out as well. And a fabulous catch taken by the bowler. What a great catch that was. Kadri has run back 25 yards, caught it coming over his head and diving at that. What a magnificent catch, and I'm afraid I'd rather talk Critchley out there. He's belied my thought that, you know, there was no need actually to go berserk at this stage. He just did, and well, he'd equally been caught if he got hold of it a bit better, because in the end the catch was taken a good 30 yards in from the boundary.
Oh.
But what a blinder that was.
Incredible. It looked like Kadri was having to try and run around the ball to find exactly where it was as it skewed up in the air. And I mean, San, it'll be no more than a postscript to this match, but that really was an excellent take by Kadri. Zizapor eventually taking with one hand, diving as well as it moved around in the wind, but he has 2 in 2. And well, there we go.
Piece of fielding genius, that from Kadri. It really was.
In a losing cause, that's quite something. Hat-trick ball then.
It wasn't
for
even his
Kadri.
catch.
No.
You know, the two guys coming in, but he obviously had no faith in them whatsoever and said, leave this to me. And I tell you what, Essex are determined that the few people who are in the ground today are going to get their money's worth, because they've seen 6 wickets already, power to add, and Essex have sent in the man known as Tall Paul Walter at 6'7". See what he can do here to stop the phlegm, stem the flow of these wickets as Kadri comes in around the wicket, bowls to Walter. Walter with a leading edge, plays it into the covers for no run. And that is the end of a 2-wicket over. 23 for 3, needing 30 to win.
Absolutely right. And, well, as you say, giving the crowd rich entertainment, and Kadri doing the same with that acrobatic, athletic catch. Fantastic stuff from him. And end of the over, but delaying the inevitable just a little bit longer. And so is there any point in me waving my arms to try and bring the clouds across? It's not going to happen. But
tell you what, actually, is an interesting thought. Totally understand Essex's approach here to get them before the weather arrives. As Stewart is in and bowls, and Wesley defends the ball to backward point. But the thought I have is, actually, if the weather were about to strike and do its worst, the Essex approach, by the time they'd already lost 1 wicket, is counterproductive, because you do, of course, waste time if you lose wickets all the time. And just a little bit of a more measured approach might have finished the job already. It's a bit like watching the power play in one of Essex's less good T20s, as here comes Stewart in, bowls to Wesley, and Wesley's stuck on the pad, well worth an appeal, it's not out. And that one, just looking at that, probably going down leg side, maybe height might have been an issue as well, but it's a leg by, 24 for 3, and the skipper, noticeably, is not joining in the general approach of his colleagues here. He's trying to play proper cricket.
I think it echoes what Harry Finch was saying yesterday, is this is not an easy pitch to get in on. Once you are in,
yep.
Perhaps it's not... there aren't too many demons in it, but it's really showing, isn't it, from Essex's approach here, is trying to swing from ball 1 is not that easy.
Don Topley repeatedly pointed out what a slow pitch this is, so that's the reason for what Matt's just said. You need to take time to get the pace of it, or lack of it. This next delivery is a pleasant cover drive from Paul Walter, who also looks as if he's intent on playing proper cricket here, and proper cricket in terms of proper red ball cricket. Compton Fields at cover, there's no run. 6 more would do it for Essex, 24 for 3.
He must be tempted, Walter, surely, swinging over the bowler's head to finish it in one blow. But
well, Kent are putting a more respectable look to what the final margin will be. 7 wickets at best for Essex. Stewart bowls to Walter. Oh, he's got 4 streakies. He's looked to play it through the covers, and the ball's gone in 180 degrees the opposite direction, down to the fine leg boundary off an inside edge. Wasn't particularly close to playing it into the stumps, but he didn't know much about that. Stewart, who's had very little luck with the ball in this game and generally bowled well, once again unlucky. 28 for 3. Walter has 4. Wesley 5, and just 2 more runs are needed.
Indeed, yeah. Well, by fair means or foul, they are very close indeed now. Paul Walter looking around the field. Did Kent bring everything in for the single? I mean, 2 gives them the win, so I don't know what you do. The game is up.
Well, it may be after 1 more ball. Will it be this one? Stewart bowls to Walter, and Walter is, again, not really where he was intending it, but it's the winning runs as he gets this ball to within 5 yards of the cover boundary, and Essex have beaten Kent by 7 wickets. Walter is 6 not out, Wesley 5 not out. Essex reached the target of 30, but in the process lost Lawrence, caught sub-bowled Stewart 5, Rossington, LBW, Cadry 14. Critchley magnificently caught and bowled by Cadry for naught. One of the great highlights of the match. A skyer, and Cadry ran back 25 yards and dived and held out one hand and plucked it out of thin air just before it was about to hit the ground. That was the most outstanding catch of the match, and that includes a wonderful one by Simon Harmer yesterday to get rid of Ben Compton at leg slip flying to his right. So there we go. Commiserations to Kent, but I honestly don't think you've a lot to worry about in terms of relegation, because in my scorecard, I can't see Middlesex or Northampton registering another win this season, and Kent simply have to finish above those two. They're already above them. Both will, I think I'm right in saying, provided the rain doesn't intervene at Lord's, both Northants and Middlesex will have lost their respective games and each have to play all the top three among their few remaining games. Matt, always a delight to see you. Hear your thoughts on the game.
Well, a little bit of cold comfort, I suppose, that for Kent, in that Kent supporters would love to see their side winning at the moment, and they're going through a poor run, notwithstanding that win against Northamptonshire. They've taken some beatings from sides in the County Championship Division 1, and another one by Essex here. A few positive to take from it, certainly Everson's innings in the second innings, and Harry Finch as well. More worrying for them, I think, Kent will be this lengthening injury list, with both Jordan Cox and Joe Denley having problems during this match. Already Daniel Bell Drummond out, Michael Hogan out. I could go on and list more, but Kent fans won't want me to pour on the woe right now. Quick turnaround for them, albeit it'll be a shortened day today. They'll be back playing Nottinghamshire at Trent Bridge. Weather being all right at 11 o'clock on Tuesday morning. Ben Watts will be a part of the commentary team for us there. But Paul, thank you as always, and Victoria and Don for your fine hospitality here. A pity it didn't extend to matters on the pitch, but Kent losing this one and inevitable, it seemed, even after the end of the first day, that Essex were going to be victorious here.
Matt, always a huge pleasure to see you. Just a couple of thoughts, if I may, from an Essex point of view, and that would be they play at the Aegeus Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of next week. I shall be there for the first 2 days, my colleague Nick Gledhill for the last 2 days, and it's always a difficult place to go, the Aegeus, so that will not be an easy fixture for Essex. But then in September, where the next games are, the final 3 games, they play Middlesex here at Chelmsford and should win that, weather permitting. They play Hampshire here, good side Hampshire, but in my experience they don't often come out on top here at Chelmsford. They're not the best of travellers in my book, Hampshire. And Essex finish with a game against almost certainly what will be already relegated Northamptonshire. That's the only time they'll have met Northants this season. The worry from my point of view would be the weather, because it's right at the very end of September. What on earth are we doing when there's such a bad record of weather at the end of September, playing matches that late? Well, it's to accommodate the 100 competition, basically. So as much as Essex should win at Northampton, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't get the time to do it because of the weather. However, Essex probably, I'm assuming Surrey are going to beat Middlesex today. They will then be 14 behind Surrey and have stretched further clear of Warwickshire. Essex will take 21 points from this game. Warwickshire probably only about half a dozen from their game, so Essex could stretch their lead over Warwickshire by the end of today to about 25 points. And I must just say 2 things on behalf of Essex before we close. One is how professional they've been in this game. I know it may look slightly amateurish the way they got to 30 and lost 3 wickets, but it was nevertheless, it was professional, because they just had to beat the weather here, and they'd have looked utterly foolish if they'd gone about it the way you normally would, only for the heavens to open and finish on about 15 for 1 with just 15 more runs needed. So they really have played great cricket in the game. OK, you can say Kent would be leaguered with injuries, which is perfectly true. You can say they may not have been able to put up the strongest opposition, Kent, but Harry Finch was absolutely superb yesterday, and if only 1 or 2 of those who perhaps gave their wickets away rather easily had got their heads down and battled the way that Finch, Compton and Everson did, then this would have been a draw, I'm sure, and Essex wouldn't have had time to win it. So Essex did do extremely well. A great team effort again. If you notice, it wasn't all Simon Harmer, though as always he played a big part, but so did several others. Sam Cook bowled brilliantly. There were some great knocks in the Essex innings as well to get them up to their first innings total of 458 for 8 declared, most notably Matt Critchley with that splendid 117, and Simon Harmer's remarkable 83 not out. Just checking there on what we're going to do. We're going into the midday news, so it gives me time to make one other point, and that is I would give Essex on their display yesterday when they couldn't bowl Kent out in the day, and all credit to the people I've just mentioned for keeping Essex at bay, but I would give Essex 7 out of 10 for that performance. Still good, but just little bits in the fielding, not quite as good as they might have been. One or two players may be caught on the back foot rather than the front in the field, but where I would defend them to the hilt, this is one hell of a schedule that teams like Essex who are successful have to go through. And I was just thinking, they came off the back of an incredibly busy June. They had to go to Edgbaston for the quarter-final in the T20, and shortly after that they went to Blackpool for a 4-day game in the Championship, and 2 days after that they were in the T20 finals day. They've played 6 T20 finals days, and every time but one they've had to play the first semi-final. It's the first one they actually won of those first semi-finals, but although I was a bit critical of the way they went about the batting, it's never easy, you know, when you have to be there at 11 o'clock and play one game and hang around for 4 hours and then come back and play the second. And the only time they did play the second semi-final in 2019, they won the competition. Well, not content with that. That was last Saturday. Here they are this week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, playing more 4-day cricket. And it is a massive ask, I think, on the players' behalf, to go from whizzing around the country for the T20 games. I take you back to how the T20 started. I'm just continuing because I'm doing a piece into the 12 o'clock news. Game 2 it was, Hove. And you say, well, that's okay, it's not very far. Very next day, Game 3, back to Chelmsford to play Hampshire. And then the following week, on the Wednesday, away to Canterbury. On the Friday, away at Cardiff. And then by the Monday, they were back, I think, here at Chelmsford. It's a heck of a schedule. And if you pick up, a few cuts and bruises and strains, to keep having to come out is a big ask, as was having to play 2 games in the T20 finals day. So if you are a successful side, it does put tremendous demands on the players. Just about to go into the news bulletin update, and for quite a while this morning, as funnily enough, the weather was more threatening in the period from 11 o'clock to about 11:30 when Kent were dismissed than it is now. It's actually quite bright at the moment, and although it's all cloud cover and we can sense the rain's on the way, it probably is going to take another half hour to an hour before it arrives. And for quite a while Essex didn't get the breakthrough, but thankfully from their point of view, once they got one breakthrough, not another run was scored. Kent suddenly dissipated to be 280 all out in the space of 7 deliveries, and it was fairly routine for Essex, who had the kokum to put their most biggest hitters in to open up, even though you could say it didn't work particularly, but they got the job done between them. And Essex at 30 for 3 had bagged 21 points from the game, maximum bowling points, and just a 2 for batting. So we're just waiting to go into the midday news on behalf of all your commentary team: Don Topley, Ben Watts, Matt Cole, Victoria Polly, myself, Paul Newton. Thanks for listening to this 4th win in a row for Essex here. And assuming the weather holds off at Lord's long enough for Surrey to beat Middlesex, they needed 78 to win, then Essex are going to be 14 points behind Surrey at the start of the next round of matches next Tuesday when Essex are at the Aegeus. And so a thoroughly workmanlike performance from Essex, and I do feel that in Championship cricket they take a lot of beating. Promoted from Division 2 in 2016, 2 titles, 2017, 2019, plus the Bob Willis Trophy in 2020 to show for it, and they're not going to miss by far, if at all, this season. Coming for the title. Stand by, here we go.